Marvel seems intent on killing the rest of their comic business. At this point, you can't just pick up a comic book and read what's going on anymore. You're going to have to scan a QR code to get the final page of an issue. Now, I got X-Men #1, and I have this. I looked it up to confirm this because Gail Simone is out saying that this is not the case, that this is a fake news article, that people who are upset about this are wrong. And sure enough, it's true. It is 100% the case. Now, Tom Brevoort wrote a blog about this, who's the X-Men editor, to go off on what they're trying to do with this whole thing. And it comes down to the comic industry's dying. They're missing the point of why it's dying, and they're trying weird things, which I think have secondary reasonings, which I'll get into in just a moment. My name is John Delarose. I am a comic book expert, the most trusted name in comics news. I've also one of the most trusted names in comic Kickstarter. I've made 12 plus graphic novels, and this is my new one, The Hidden Emperor. If you like the stuff from X-Men, like the Starjammers, like the sci-fi stuff back in the day where it was like action adventure, I'm bringing it back. Chris Claremont, baby. You'll absolutely love this. I think 70s comics, 80s comics, the stuff from Valerian and Laureline, Nexus, the Flash Gordon stuff from back then is just some of the finest stuff out there. So I set to bring it back and actually make heroic adventure again. And I did so with my artist, Miss Crimson, who's a veteran of the comic industry since the 1980s indie explosion as well. She's been working for a long, long time and does a great job, absolute killer job. So I would love for you to check this out. There's actually 4 different books involved in this campaign. It's a little complicated. Overmind is the first book. It's a comic. The Immortal Edge is a novel. It's the second. And the third is The Hidden Emperor, which is a comic again. And then the fourth is Into the Black, which is a novel. So a lot of different reading opportunities for everybody. They're all standalone books. I recommend getting the complete Ayla Rin stories or the leather-bound edition because that's pretty cool. Very unique stuff. Super high quality. So check this out. Support our channel in the description below. Thank you guys so much. I mean, we've killed it so far. I can't wait to get to our 20K stretch goal. It's been like I'm just kind of refreshing every 5 minutes. Just like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because I got a big announcement for you too. So please help us get there today. Thanks so much again. All right. So what a bad idea from Marvel Comics. And this comes from Soft Tonic. They said, from now on, Marvel Comics will have a QR code to view the final page, and no one understands why. The mutant power of wanting to be modern is bad. And this is one of those, like, trying to be a cool gimmicky thing. They did this back in the Marvel Now days, where they'd give some behind-the-scenes stuff and things like that. It wouldn't quite be like this, where you'd actually get a full comic book page that's not in the book. That's pretty wild for a comic collector to buy a comic book and one of the pages literally is not there. What if you try to read this like 30, 40 years from now? Like, I mean, it's just still not there. I mean, will it even be up on their servers at that point? I mean, there are lots of question marks on that kind of level of thinking right here. I get it when you're doing behind the scenes stuff and things like that. But when you actually put a full comic page, it should be in the book. It's stupid not to do this. And this is, like I said, I confirmed it. I looked at it myself. And sure enough, the last page was there. Now, this is a bad idea. It came from Tom Brevoort, apparently. He posted on his Substack blog about how the new books are going to do this going forward. And the reason they were talking about doing this is because people are apparently spoiling the books before they even come out. Like, people get them a day before, maybe in comic stores, somebody scans and uploads them, and then people can actually get the X-Men book before it even comes out. And so they think that's what's hurting their sales. They think piracy is hurting their sales. You need people to actually read the books before you get to piracy, my friends. And I think that the problem is a lot of people have tuned out of comics. I've actually talked to several comic shop owners, and most comic shop owners are actually telling me that they think 30% or less of the actual comic buyers are actually reading the books at all, which is a wild and terrible number. I mean, it makes sense because, like, how could some of this diversity stuff even sell if people are actually reading it? But they don't. People just buy them, they slab them, they speculate, and they hope that, like, one of the movies references something so they can make their money back. It's a weird collector's industry game of dwindling amounts of people who just give up after a while. And every all new #1 X-Men that comes out as they relaunch over and over and over again just saturates that market further and just compounds their problems. Now, I can tell Marvel what their problems are. They've got decompressed storytelling that's boring. They've got people who don't know how to write heroes, don't know how to write action. And they are focusing on these diversity hires who go in there and try to write self-inserts about their weird sexual fetishes rather than actually trying to tell something decent. That's the main problem that they have. Fix that, and you got a lot of happy people. But they don't want to admit that that's the problem with the comic book industry. It's been that way since like at least 2016. They made Captain America into a Nazi. They've been pushing Black Hispanic Spider-Man, of course. They've turned Green Lantern and Batman and Superman gay. The comics are dying because of that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Nobody wants to read it, and that's all that's going on. And so piracy is not the issue, my friends. You might be getting some pirated stuff and some people who are, really into X-Men or whatever that like want to check it out because like, oh gosh, I missed that habit. I don't want to support this crap. Let me make sure and read this story real quick. But they're not people who are going to buy it otherwise. They're people who are not, they're interested in enough to be a look-see-loo, but they're not interested enough to actually go into a comic shop and buy things. So all you're doing is hurting your customers at this point and making them take an extra step to actually read the comic. Now, Gail Simone went online. She's the writer of Uncanny X-Men now, and says it's one bonus page in one issue. Now, from what Tom Brevoort said on his deal, it's actually going to be in another issue coming up very soon. And then maybe it might be in Gail's issue that's going to come out in August too. We don't know. But we do know that this first one has it, and the next one is going to have it as well. So it is more than one page in one issue. It's a gimmick that they're attempting to do across the line. So she says, folks, we're all trying to make these books something fun, something like comics used to be, behind-the-scenes stuff, mini interviews, letters, a mini bullpen column. That's not what the issue is here, Gail. Like, the issue is, like, having to, like, go online and not getting a full book because... this last page actually was a pretty important page. It was not like a bonus or whatever. It was an impactful part of the story, and it is an impactful part of what's going on in the comic and what's building in the comic. So it's something that is kind of insulting to a reader not to get in the page. For the first issues, they added bonus teaser pages by the actual creative teams. That's all. Okay, we'll put it in the book. I mean, it's silly. I mean, why would you do that? She says they're fun. They have little hints of what's coming. Yeah, of course. But like, as a comic buyer, you don't get the actual page in the book. Like that's it's painful to look at. And this is just bad writing anyway. This is the actual scanned page that you have to put a QR code. It went up online anyway. So so much for the piracy warnings. So it's right here. You can see it. They've got some people who are Illuminati running the X teams and their work indeed. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's not even interesting that sort of thing. And what a weird design here. This is a giant table that 4 people are sitting across from. You'd have to yell to actually talk to the person across from you. Why is the table so big? This doesn't make any sense either, but okay. Not much to it. But it is important because they are shadowy figures. You're supposed to kind of figure out who they are. In an attempt to figure out like what's going on, and this one kind of looks like Xavier with Cerebro here. Maybe this is more McTaggart. I don't know. That's just my guesses. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to guess about this. So this is about a big cliffhanger ending page, which should be in the comic. Now, my reasoning, I think, that Marvel's actually doing this is I think they're trying to get used to people going to online to scan stuff, and when you go online to scan stuff. Then they're going to get you on an email list so that they can sell to you directly. Because I think Marvel knows the comic shop's dying. I think they know these single issues are dying. And I think they're going to try to funnel their fan base over the next few months into their own ecosystem online. And that way they're going to try to preserve their own customer base directly so that they don't have to then split with retailers and things like that, and they can actually make money a little easier than having to sell to the direct market. I do think it's that cynical. And that would be a huge mistake because, like, if you don't have comic shops and people walking in and discussing and things like that, I really think, like, you might as well go to Webtoon and just read a random book at this point. Like, who cares? And so this is really spelling the end for Marvel Comics. Now, between this, with this weird QR code scam, and DC's all in, we have both companies making major errors towards the end of 2024 after sales have been at one of their worst points in history, which are down from last year even. The events aren't moving the needle from what I'm hearing. People just aren't coming to the comic shops. The only thing getting people excited are the Robert Kirkman's like Transformers deal and Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man. And the reason that those do so well is, again, it doesn't come back to spoilers or piracy or anything like that. Those have the same issue with that. The reason those do so well is because they're giving the fans what they want in the storytelling. And that's exactly what Marvel is just refusing to do. They're dragging their feet until it collapses their entire media empire. Just another weird gimmick in another line of weird gimmicks. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out the alternative here, The Hidden Emperor, on Kickstarter right now. You'll absolutely love this book, I promise. The link's in the description below. Back us today and support our channel. Thank you so much for being there.